So we are, let's see, welcome to episode 9.
9. Still not canceled.
Still not canceled. Thanks, y'all, for not canceling us.
Still not canceled. Blocked on TikTok, but still not
Thanks.
canceled.
Thanks TikTok. Thanks China for blocking us. But
Dude, that TikTok owned me last week, right? So I go live every day, and I was trying to prove a point that TikTok was anti-American. So I said, dude, you can say anything you want on this app. I said, I could say F Americans. And TikTok instantly blocked me. I said, you know what? Way to show me I'm wrong, TikTok. Way to put it in my face.
I've seen it multiple times, and as a content creator, that they are controlling the social narrative.
Yeah.
Because there are things that I get flagged for on TikTok that the other platforms don't even sniff at all.
No.
Fucking ridiculous.
What platform would you say right now is the most lean? Obviously X. Twitter is probably like the most
X,
like
all day.
Free for all.
There's porn on X. Not that I've looked at it.
It's wink. I had to get off of X because of that, man. It's too in your face.
Literally.
But I think, I think let it sit. I think outside of Twitter, I think probably Instagram is the most like open-minded. They allow us to let a lot of like cannabis stuff.
Instagram's been good.
Yeah.
And Meta is interesting. That's a whole rabbit hole, but Meta is interesting because Facebook is a different animal than Instagram.
Yeah.
In terms of the algorithms and expectations and how they serve their content and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is bananas.
I feel like Facebook algorithm is basically like a newspaper where it's just putting it rewards the most like sensational.
I agree.
So I'm scrolling across TikTok, which is the least, I guess, friendly of the algorithms. And I came across a video. There's this young black guy. I can't remember his name. He posts a lot of videos. He's a little overly verbose, but he came across a really good video on the difference between commitment versus relationships. And I instantly wanted to save because I said, this is something that we need to talk about. Let's roll the clip.
This is going to be a tough one. And I'm just letting you know early. You might be in a relationship, but are you in a commitment? Because we can be real, right? Most people say they want a commitment, but they're really just trying to trap relationship in a contract. They want the promise of forever because they're terrified of being alone tomorrow. That's not devotion, that's fear management. And see, the thing is that a relationship is an experience. I can agree. But commitment, that's a practice. Okay, one is about connection, one's about continuity. And some of y'all are trying to commit to someone you've never been fully real with. You perform, but you hide your grief. You show up daily, but you never let them in. You got shared bills, shared goals, but not a shared soul. And commitment isn't about we stay no matter what. That's not what commitment is. I need that to go away. It is not we stay no matter what. It's we grow no matter what it reveals. Commitment is not we stay no matter what. It's we grow no matter what it reveals.
We grow no matter what it reveals. I will go through 20,000 shitty QVC coupon videos on TikTok to find that, right? That right there is what makes TikTok worth all the bullshit, all the politicians, all the let me sell you something, all the bullshit Logan Pauls. That right there makes it worth it. What did you think when you heard that?
It's something that you've got to go through a disharmonious, shitty relationship to appreciate what that guy's saying.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
And if you're younger and you're in love for the first time, or you just got married and you're figuring your shit out, this is not applicable to you.
Yeah.
This content. This content is applicable to those of us that have been in horrible, toxic, negative relationships. And you go, you know what? It's so much more. You're sharing souls. When he said that, it's like, absolutely. And there's like, with Brandy and I, we're always talking about stuff. Always. We don't hide anything. And that's next level relationship management.
Sure.
When you're doing that. And if you don't do that, you are doing yourself and your relationship the biggest disservice possible. And then that's still growth, but it's negative growth.
Negative growth, right?
Absolutely.
That's a term that never, when you hear about the, all these dating podcasts, mandatory podcasts, negative growth never comes up. Explain to the audience what you mean by that.
Negative growth is like a festering boil that's under your skin, and it gets bigger.
Cancer,
and
right?
It's
a
cancerous.
Yeah.
It's toxic.
Yeah.
And it is something that if you don't address it, it gets worse and worse and worse over time. And then next thing you know, you have kids and you're staying in the relationship for the kids.
Yeah.
And you're totally discrediting any type of happiness or self-worth of your own because of the negative growth that is organically festering between yourself and your wife.
Yeah. The cancer just eats at you.
Awful.
Right?
It's awful.
Something good happens and you can't even see it because all you see is that growth that's living inside you.
Yeah,
right?
I was in it. I was in it before, and I'm open about it. I mean, we co-parent great now.
Yeah.
But married for 13 years. Oh,
if you're comfortable with it, right? What was the negative growth for you? What was the cancer that? Where were you growing in the opposite direction?
There wasn't a full transparent way to go back and forth on stuff. There was always stuff being hidden, or I was getting hit out of left field with things, or probably doing the same thing to her.
Yeah.
Because it goes both ways. And so there wasn't a clear and present methodology of growing together as a couple.
Did she hit you with the ultimate, I don't want to say female, because it's not just women who do this. I know guys who do this. Did she hit you with the ultimate feminine weapon where you would bring up a critique for her, a criticism, and she would instantly use that as her time to tell you something she doesn't like about you?
She had a lack of empathy. Absolutely.
Towards you or just men in general?
Towards me. I don't know if it was towards men in general, but a great question, but towards me, that there was never very rarely did she say, I'm sorry, if she was wrong about something. We just move on. There was never closure to that argument that we had.
Okay.
And that ate away at me for years. And I had to wait until I was making enough money that I could walk away from the relationship. That's what I did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What was it about the money? You wanted to feel like you were stable. You didn't want a cushion.
I need a cushion for the kids. I'm fine. I'll eat ramen. I don't care about that. But I needed my kids to be okay.
Yeah.
And I've been open about that. Like my child support payment is, bigger than most people's mortgages. It's bananas. And I'm okay paying that. I'm okay paying that. It is something I want my kids taken care of and to be good. And they're wonderful children.
Yeah. But it grew, right? What would you say, and again, it's hard because you're on the other perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say was the negative growth for her? Where would you say, like, would you say, speaking on what he was talking about, would you say you guys were in a relationship, not a commitment?
Correct.
You were committed to your kids, obviously, because you both love your kids,
Yep.
but you weren't committed to each other in a way that the kids needed, right?
I lied to her about stuff. I won't get into, but I lied to her about things.
Yeah.
I fall on the sword for that all day long.
Okay.
But she had trust issues before that from other things happened in her life, trust issues with men. And so that just kind of snowballed. And so, but it's to give it a positive turn. It helped me recognize, like, Brandy came out of nowhere, and Brandy said, I love hard. I love deep. You'll never be loved deeper by another woman than I will love you. And she's absolutely right. She called it. She's absolutely right. And to this day, I'm never loved. Like, when we kiss, I have to pull away first. We'd still be home right now kissing.
Yeah.
If I didn't back away for a second.
Yeah.
That's how hard she loves me.
Yeah.
And I get goosebumps from that because I'm the luckiest man on the planet now. And, because of, you have to get through shit. So I totally agree with what he was saying. However, to really appreciate being in a solid relationship, you have to go through some tumultuous times. The people that are high school sweethearts and get married and they're married forever.
Yeah.
That's like winning the Powerball. The odds on that happening is like a kabillion to one.
Yeah. But here's where you and I typically agree on most things, right? But and this is something we try to tell our audience, hey, a small subjective disagreement does not mean all out war. It's just a small subjective agreement, right?
We're fine.
Me and my wife are essentially high school sweethearts because that's where I met her. Like, we didn't date throughout high school because I'm older than she is, and I'm not a sicko who dates, young girls like that. But we've been high school sweethearts. And for us, I did hit the lottery. I did, get to fall in love with someone at a very young age. But we've been through ups and downs.
Sure.
From me being a liar, from her being defensive and guarded, to us working through family trauma. One of the most beautiful things is watching two people who come from fucked up families try to reset the scale.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? So even if you find someone early, it's not until you actually try to grow with that person that what he's saying makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right? There's people who have been in relationships for 20 years and still don't tell the truth to each other. Right? They're committed to their kids. They're committed to their finances. They're committed to their jobs.
They're committed to the optics on social media that they have a great and wonderful relationship.
They're committed to not being alone. Right?
Yeah.
They've agreed that we're both afraid of failing or feeling like failures, whatever that means for people. We're afraid. We're both committed to not, being afraid anymore, but we haven't committed to each other because I think, and we see it now more than ever, people are stuck between two fears in a lot of realms, everywhere. Everywhere we look, people are stuck between two fears, a lot of cognitive dissonance. But it's the fear of, I don't want to wake up alone, but I also don't want to be vulnerable because you might hurt me.
Absolutely right.
Right? And in between those two fears is a relationship, but there's no commitment, right? Because commitment is telling before you get married, we talk about setting expectations. Commitment means, like he said, growth at any cost, no matter what it reveals, okay? Before you get married, you might reveal something about how you like to have sex. That might turn this person you've been with for 6 months and make them leave, right? And so many people are afraid of revealing that and going back to being alone that they tuck it in. And then 10 years later, you end up cheating on your spouse because you're not getting the sex that you wanted, right?
It's something that, and I'm going to take this in a different direction. The most admirable person I always see is the single dad who's present in the lives of his children.
Okay.
Because you are carrying all of the stress and weight, usually, of the finances, of bringing, of protecting these kids, even though half the time or more than half the time they're with their moms, and you still, so you're obsessing about them and are they okay? Are they good?
Yeah.
And if you're co-parenting, the mom usually has a different parenting style than the dad. And it's navigating those waters. And it's also then if you come into another relationship with someone, so then all of a sudden there's a stepmom that's there down the road. How does that play out where, like, again, you've hit the, Powerball with your wife. I hit the Powerball with my wife now because she brought a dog, a cat, and her daughter, who's 16 years old, to the equation. And our kids together get along great.
Yeah.
My kids love Brandy's daughter and vice versa.
Yeah.
That's so rare. But to me, it's a testament of how Brandy has raised her daughter and how I've raised my kids.
Yeah.
And the influence that we've had on our children, that now we're a mixed family. Now we're a combined family and we get along great. I went to the pool yesterday. Awesome. Great time.
It helps that you've already revealed yourself to her, right?
Yeah.
You got to see the mistakes of what happens when you don't reveal who you truly are to someone the first time. So how long did it take with Brandy before you were like, you know what? All cards on the table. This is me. This is who I am. And then on the reverse, because for girls, I find a lot of times they're more reluctant to be vulnerable because they have more to lose. Was she the first one to lay the cards on the table, or were you whipping it out immediately?
I was.
Okay.
I was just, and just because of there's baggage I carry that I wanted to let her know about before we even got together, before our first date. We were talking every day. We were FaceTiming, doing the whole thing. And that was going on for weeks until I went over to Florida and we had our first date.
What was the fear ever present?
Of
I'm going to say something that scares her away.
no, because that's a great question. The way I looked at it, if she didn't accept me for who I am and all of my fallacies, then we're not meant to be together, and that's okay. But that's why I looked at it.
Does having kids, because you've conquered a fear that is ever persistent from the age of 12 to 1200 if humans live that long. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How to stop being afraid, being vulnerable. Did having your kids help you? Because when you're dating now, you're like, I'm not just dating you for me, I'm dating you for us. I don't have time to be vulnerable.
I don't know if
or time to be afraid, sorry.
You're fine. I don't think the kids helped. I think I was in a place in my life that I was being vulnerable and open with anybody I was dating. And some people I was going to go on dates with, it turned them off and they canceled dates. Okay, fine. And it was something that I waited until I was comfortable enough that I knew that this, like with my wife now, when we were dating, it was going in the direction that I was going to come see her.
Yeah.
We were going to because once you start to become intimate with somebody, that's a whole nother level. Because I also really wasn't, I shouldn't say I wasn't a whore. I was out of the whore. I was out of the hoe phase.
You was hoeing, bro. You was in the streets.
I was out of the hoe phase at that point in time. But also, I had gotten my ass handed to me by a couple of women that I thought I was into them, but it wasn't being reciprocated.
Yeah.
So I grew from that. I was like, okay, fine. So I pity party for like 30 seconds and move on.
Sure.
And then when I was talking to Brandy, it's just like we've always been open and honest with each other about everything. And we share everything. Like she's my biggest hype person, and I'm hers.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of grew naturally. But it's taking that leap of faith that person's going to accept you for who you are and all of your, inaccuracies, all this stuff that you just think that all your imperfections. Mm-hmm. And a true relationship is someone that they accept every single one of your imperfections and love you unconditionally. You
said a word, and I don't want to take it this direction. It's something I wanted to comment on because you said a leap of faith. Funny enough, my relationship with my wife is what brought me back to God in a weird way, right? Because I'm like, well, shit, the amount of faith it took for us to be together and me for her and her for me, I was like, oh shit, this faith this does exist. Like people always say they want to see it. Well, I got to see it. Right? Because you're right, it is a leap of faith. Think about how much rejection. You blew it off casually, right? But there's some 22-year-old that's like, wait. You let multiple women see behind the curtain and reject you, and you just kept going? Were you like that in your 20s?
No.
Okay.
God, no.
So what gave you these powers? Where did they come from?
Time. Pure and simple time. I was then in my early 50s and had been through the wars of time and of getting your ass kicked, and that.
So time plus experience.
Time equals experience.
Okay. Well, a lot of people spend their time running away from experiences, right? They stay in home. They stay sheltered.
Fair enough.
Right?
To me, time equals experience. I try to learn something from someone every single day. Every day. And I don't care who they are or what they're wearing, how much money they make. I know there's somebody out there every day that can teach me something.
Yeah.
That's my goal, is just to get a little bit better at my own self-evolution, as a dad, as a husband, as a podcaster, as a content creator, as a man every day. Because like we've said this before, TikTok, man, I'm 55. I've got more time behind me than in front of me.
Yeah.
And so I really now double down on the quality time I spend with those that I admire, that I adore, that I love. That's what I do. If not, it's some of the best time. And my wife, Brandy's the same way. We just like staying at home, eat some gummies, and we just hang out together.
Shout out to Flight Bites.
Hella shout out to Flight Bites. Hella shout out to Flight Bites. And so it's something that only time, Brandon. I look at these kids now that are posturing on Instagram and
nonchalant.
TikTok.
That's the new thing, nonchalant, being nonchalant. You got to be like, I don't care, whatever.
Yeah. Like
the less you care, the cooler it makes you seem.
Yeah.
Right?
It's I I was so younger. Like my family came from a bunch of money. So I was spoiled rotten in terms of money and stuff showered at me, but there wasn't a lot of love given to me. It was more like, I've been open about it. Christmas time, my family got together, my grandparents and all that. There wasn't a lot of I love yous, but there was a fuck ton of envelopes.
See, and I'm the opposite. Christmas time, there was a few gifts under the tree, but it was a lot of hugs and a lot of family time, right?
And I would have killed for that.
And I would have killed for you. I would have killed. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care what it makes me sound like. I don't care. I would have traded like at least 2 years of a lot of family time for just a fuck ton of just 1 year. Give me the PlayStation with 10 games.
Yeah.
1 year, right? I would trade it all in. Sorry, Grandpa. No offense. When he says commitment, no matter what it reveals, is there anything with you and Brandy that has been revealed because you guys are so open with each other, or is it kind of just like all the cards are on the table? There's really no magic tricks left.
Correct. The latter of what you said.
The latter.
We are. I mean, we're dialed in. As my daughter would say, we're locked in.
Locked in. Yeah. It's the new slang. Yeah, right? Locked in.
Brandy and I, my wife and I are locked in to be each other's not life partners, but eternal partners.
Okay.
Like she already has me brainwashed that, I mean, I'm going to die before her. Like we've already talked about that. I'm not allowed to date anyone in heaven at all because she'll find out about it. And she sends me fucking memes about this shit, Brandon. So, and I already like, I always reply back, already know it, noted, check mark emoji, got it. I already know that like when I die, I'll hang out with my family and friends that have passed away. Any woman that even looks my way. I told her this morning, I've had dreams that women were hitting on me. And I'm like, no, I have a girlfriend, or no, I'm married.
In your dreams?
So my love for her, she's in my subconscious, which I love that.
Yeah.
Because that's a powerful feeling.
But that comes, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that comes from her, and you talked about earlier with her kissing you so passionately, right? She's not afraid to hide how obsessed with you she is.
Agreed.
Right? And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it comfortably. I think the reason men are better at being vulnerable than women. There's this very toxic idea that men are the less romantic, less vulnerable. And I think that's the opposite. I think men are dogs. We'll wag our tails. We'll do all that. And I think the reason women are more hesitant to be vulnerable is because their vulnerability is exposing how obsessed and how much they need you, right?
Interesting point.
Society has created this, you talk about men posturing. The biggest posturing is women pretending that they don't need you, right? Pretending that they're not as obsessed with you as they are. You ever see a good woman who loves her husband? It's an obsession. They'll tell like, oh man, my husband comes home with his work hat on, dirty from work, and I just fucking want to rip his, like there's an obsession there, right? The more comfortable and more safe you make them feel, the more they get to expose themselves to you.
Yeah.
It's an obsession, right? They don't just love you. There's like you better not date someone in your dreams, heaven, underground, right? I'm yours forever.
You're mine.
You're mine.
You're mine. And that's how, I've never even been in a relationship like that before. And it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like it is the greatest insurance policy ever against loneliness. Loneliness of the dick and loneliness of the heart.
Yeah.
And loneliness of the brain.
Yeah.
And that's for Brandy laughing in the other room.
Loneliness of the dick
loneliness,
is definitely.
If you want insurance against loneliness of the dick, you want to be with a woman that obsesses about you.
Yeah.
And I mean and a lot of times people use that term flippantly. No, I mean like there's been times that she's like, I'm going upstairs to change. She follows me upstairs just to stare at me.
Yeah.
What that does for my heart, like I've never had a woman love me.
No.
Not even like how like matriarchal love. My mom didn't even love me deeply.
Not that way.
And so Brandy is just how she gets excited about things for me. How she's my biggest cheerleader, Brandon, is, and I've found it. I've got King Arthur's sword. I pulled it out of the fucking rock. and my sword is the dick, and the rock is my fucking wife. And all I gotta do is pull it out every once in a while.
This is so funny because his wife's outside the door.
Very well aware. Very well. Very.
Oh. I can see her. I can literally.
She's my rock.
I'm going to get in so much trouble for this, but this is the reason why you see. Listen, we can talk openly about this, okay? You've been outside and seen a handsome black man. Again, call it what you want. You've seen a handsome black guy with just like a chubby white chick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has the same thought. It's a joke online. It's a meme online. But you have to understand what you just said. He's never had a woman be that nice to him or obsess over him in his life. And I think we've told women to not be damsels in distress, to not be vulnerable, but men can't commit to you until they see that vulnerability. That's the truth, right? Until I see how much you need me, I cannot commit to you. We can date, we can have sex, shit, we can even have kids. But I cannot commit to you, body, soul, all that, until I see how much you need me. That's the trigger to make me go, oh, all right, I need to be the man that I need to be because you're so obsessed with me that you'll go down with the ship. Your wife will go down with the ship.
Absolutely.
She will go down with you.
Without question.
Right?
She'll go down on the ship or me.
She's outside the fucking door.
It's true. She's wonderful.
But when we talk about failure, right? This is the point we're getting at. The reason why we have to fight failure, the reason why it's such a big thing for us is because we know our wives are so loyal. They have committed to us so deeply, they'll go down with the fucking ship with us, right?
All day, every day.
I have been an alcoholic. I've been a drug addict. I've been poor. I've been homeless. I have taken myself to rock bottom. I have no problem being there. I will live there. But I would never drive my wife there. I would never. I would tell my wife to leave me before I ever let her get that low.
Really?
Oh yeah, 100%. If I ever felt me losing control of myself, or if I ever felt, she wouldn't listen, but I would, yeah.
But what if she's the one to help you pull yourself out of
She
that?
already did that one time. I cannot take her there a second time. That's my obsession with her, right? I would rather die alone and miserable than ever take her back there. I couldn't do it.
Would she let you? That's the question. That's not your decision to make, my friend. That's her decision.
I told you she wouldn't. She would go down with me. I would hate her for it. It would piss me off, but she'd go down with me.
Yeah.
Right? You grow apart. That's the biggest fear. That is, Jeff. That's the biggest fear. It's why people don't reveal themselves, is because they're afraid of what you conquered. And I must commend you on that.
Thanks, man.
You overcame what I think is men's biggest fear, is just putting your vulnerability out there and having it rejected, right? Men can handle war, the loss of limbs, being punched, being kicked, stepped on, but that is something a lot of men feel like they can't recover from.
That is the third rail.
That's the third rail.
For
right?
almost every man walking the planet.
Right? I know guys with gigantic muscles, guys who kick ass, guys who beat people up for a living, who are afraid of what you walked into, but walking through that found you her.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Walking through hell found you the heaven.
And it's going through financial evisceration. It's going through loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
It's going through self-doubt,
Mm-hmm.
which is huge. Because everyone says, oh, you need to be alone to work on yourself. Really?
Really?
Really? Fucking need to be alone to work on yourself? How about find someone to help you work on yourself with you?
Thank you. If I could have done it myself, bitch, I would have.
Yeah. Hey, I've always said, if I was a dog and could lick my own dick, I'd never leave the house.
Marilyn Manson, remember that rumor going on?
But he had like part of his rib taken out or something so he could suck his own dick. Yeah.
Okay, quick.
If you're going into self-dick sucking, I'm on
Wait. I don't even know if that's true. All I know is in the 90s, somehow, some way, without the internet, we all thought that Marilyn Manson could suck his own dick. I don't know how that happened.
Very true.
One day, I don't know if he's answered that question on a podcast. We'll have to check that out. All right. What happens when one person grows and changes and reveals themselves as a new person or something new about them, and the other person doesn't quite come along at the same speed?
That's a biggie. That's a biggie. That's either going to be it's either going to be destruction of the relationship,
Mhm.
or it's a giant trial of patience from both sides, a trial of patience. Because if my wife is evolving in a different direction where she loves this and I'm not there with her, first of all, that wouldn't happen because we have such an open relationship in terms of communication that she's a nurse. If she was like, you know what, I don't like being a nurse, and she loves it. She loves her job, loves people she works with. But if she was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be a librarian. I want to make $23,000 a year working for Henderson, library systems. I want to I want to fuck up the Dewey Decimal System. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that fucker in a headlock.
Get down with Dewey.
Get down with Dewey.
Get down with
and we
Dewey.
got fiction and nonfiction, and let's go, motherfuckers. If she wanted to do that, I love her so much, we'd make it work. We always say that. We're just checking finances on the way here. Are we good? Is this good? Is this good? Is this good? Like, that's a biggie. You've got to talk about that stuff. And so I think, to answer your question, the nanosecond, if you're in a healthy relationship, the nanosecond that you are going off in a different direction of who you are as a man, you need to tell your woman that. You need to be open and honest with her to say, hey, I love podcasting. This is great, but I want to go work on the strip. I'm one of those guys that hands out cards to people for for all the shows.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
If I was a 5'2" Mexican, I could do it.
Yeah.
But I don't fit the profile.
No. And you got to, you're aren't good enough. You got
I can't do that, dude. My hands shake already. I have tremors in my hands. The cars would be flying all over the place. I'd be a fucking train wreck.
Yeah. And you can't do it if you're tall either. That's a good point.
No.
Because if you're tall, everybody kind of, you stand out and they see you, and it's just like, you got to kind of blend into the crowd and really be able to.
I'd love to have on as a guest sometime the HR person that hires the guys to do the cars.
Sorry, sir, you're over the limit. You're 5'5". We can't have you out here.
Out.
Gotta go.
Please send us a picture of you to scale, like next to a door, so we get an idea of how tall you are. Can you stand on the threshold of a door and please send that to us? Thank you.
Let me use a personal experience, right? And I think this is something that a lot of men go through. When I first started dating my wife, right? I was working all kind of odd jobs to make ends meet, and it was good enough for me. I was working jobs that allowed me to live my lifestyle, right? And she was going to school for cosmetology. Well, guess what? Cosmetology starts paying money pretty quickly, and she's great at her job. So I jump into real estate. She's midway through cosmetology, and I'm not making shit. As a realtor, money's just going out the window and nothing's coming in. And she's working 90-hour weeks, right? And all respect to her, she didn't do what a lot of women do. She didn't emasculate me, right? She didn't tell me, oh, you can't have that. No, we're not having steak tonight. It's ground. Like, she didn't do that thing, which a lot of women do when they get a little power, a little money, right? But then something shifted where I started becoming more successful, right? I started being able to have a schedule that didn't fit with her schedule. Right? My checks started being bigger than her checks, right? My months started being better than her year. And it was a forced transition, and it was tough. It was tough. And one day, we were fighting and arguing. And I'm like, what? As men, we have this little video camera in our head. We're like, how did we get here? So I'm hitting the rewind button over and over. How did we get here? How did we get here? What am I frustrated about, right? Because I love her. I'm obsessed with her. She's my partner. What am I pissed off about? And I realized I had changed. I was not the man she started dating. I mean, I was the guy, but I'm not him anymore.
You're different.
I'm different.
It's Brandon 2.0.
Yes. I'm Brandon from Vegas now, right? I'm Brandon from Vegas now. It's different. Things aren't what they used to be. And she, and this is why she's my wife and not my ex or my girlfriend, it was painful. I'm not gonna pretend like everything was hunky dory and she magically clicked. It took a little bit of time, right? But we were so committed to each other that it wasn't a if but a when. Hey, baby, I know you haven't changed right now. I know you haven't transitioned right now, but I know you're gonna get there. I have faith that you're gonna eventually adapt to where I'm at. And now you see us together. Right? She's my full-time operations manager.
It's awesome.
She realized
it's
that,
awesome.
Right?
What you guys have now, because I've seen it, because we've gone out to dinner with our wives, and I've seen personal you, and also I've seen business you, and there really isn't a difference.
There's one key difference, but it's going to be a whole subject. But you're right. There is one key difference. I don't get to be the person you see when I'm around her goes away. If it wasn't you, if it was somebody else, that person would go away, right? Because I can trust her with my vulnerability and I can trust you with my vulnerability.
Yeah.
But we live in a jungle, baby.
Absolutely.
We live in a jungle.
Well, we're at the Wallflower event, which was awesome. Shout out to Wallflower.
Hey.
And you guys show up and you go right into, and I watched because I observe people, I observe my friends. You go right into work mode. You're in the trailers, in the food trucks. You're filming content, doing the whole thing. You're getting up in the dunk tank. You would come over and say hi. We'd chit chat for a little bit, but you didn't really dedicate time to socialize because you're there to work.
Mm-hmm.
You were Brandon from Vegas when you were there.
Yeah.
Not my friend Brandon, which is totally fine, but it was interesting to observe that.
Well, it's no different than the podcast we're doing here versus Fargo Talks, right? Fargo Talks, the lights go on. That's your job. You're a professional. You are there to interview someone who came there to do something, right? And you're friendly and you're cordial and it's a great show. I advise everybody to watch it. It's a great show. But you're in work mode. The guy I get here is different than the guy there,
Good
right?
point. True.
They're both podcasts, but it's different. When I'm with you and my wife at Chicken and Pickle, you're just getting Brandon Johnson.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not working you over. we're just dudes having drinks.
No, we're doing our thing. And like my wife is bringing you boiled peanuts.
Oh,
a Southern delicacy. And she's talking about fatback. And I love the cauldrons.
She described a unit of measurement as a cauldron's worth of peanuts. I said, they're still doing witchcraft in Georgia? God damn. Racist witchcraft. This is crazy.
Oh, you thought the Klan was bad. You gotta watch out with the fucking witches.
Hey, watch out. The clans have witches. We all need to be in trouble, right?
The worst thing on the hierarchy is a Klan witch.
A Klan witch.
Those are the worst. You're fucked.
She's got magical racist
powers.
Are.
If you're a black man in the South, you confront a Klan witch, you're fucked.
You're run.
I hope your life insurance is paid up.
I've only ever been to Atlanta, Georgia. So in my mind, Georgia is that. So when I hear about sundown towns and cauldrons, I'm like, what the fuck is going on in Georgia? It'd be like if the only thing you know about Nevada is Las Vegas, and then you go to like any other town in Nevada, you're like, what is going on here? Yeah. Who are these people?
It's the culture. We're going off topic, but the culture is unbelievable because it's salt of the earth. Love you, but it's you go up like northern Georgia and like where she's from, like Appalachia, and like her grandmother's 95. I can understand every fourth or fifth word that she says. Like her accent is so thick, but she's the most warm, wonderful, loving woman
you can feel it off
ever.
Of
she's on Facebook. Her profile picture is 90 degrees off, and she slides into my DMs all the time. I show Brandy all the time.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh, she's always, love you. She'll always say love you bushels. So our nickname for her is Bushels.
Bushels.
We call her Bushels.
Bushels, cauldrons.
Norma's so it's love you bushels, measuring in cauldrons.
Their metric system is stuck in the 1700s.
It's literally there. It's like Salem witchcraft has come down south and it's still there.
Okay. You're fucking killing me, man.
Cauldrons. It's true.
Cauldrons.
It's true.
People are afraid of growth because it exposes weaknesses, right? Which it does. Yeah. Which it does. My wife getting into shape made me realize, oh, fuck, I'm fat as fuck, right? Like I knew it, but like seeing my wife lose weight, I'm like, oh fuck, goddamn, shit, I really need to get on my horse, right? Like she's already more attractive than me, but now it's like people are gonna walk down the street and be like, oh, that guy must have a huge dick, and I don't. So now I'm letting two people down.
Another myth dispelled.
Another myth dispelled. And they're like, well, he must be rich. And I'm not that either. My wife just fucking likes me for some reason. So like it can reveal weaknesses, but it can also reveal strengths, right? In my situation, yes, I became a different person. And yes, it caused me and my wife to grow apart for a little bit, but it showed her how strong I was. Like, hey, you can relax. I can carry our family on my back.
Yeah.
Right? She had never seen anything like that before. And frankly, I had never seen anything like that before. Right? But her taking the time to commit to me and give me the opportunity to be that person, it proved that I was stronger than I thought I was.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the big pieces of advice, and we're about to get to advice for our younger selves, but one of the best pieces of advice I think you could give young men today is don't be afraid of what you're going to lose. Because you're going to lose. You can't gain anything without losing something. You want to gain muscle, you're going to lose fat. You want to gain friends, you're going to lose friends over here, right? You want to gain money and wealth, you're going to lose time. There's always loss. Don't be afraid of what you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Be excited for what you're going to possibly gain, right?
You have to, it's an old saying, it's overused, but like, eye on the prize.
Eye on the prize.
You have to keep your eye on the prize.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can get into it now. The best advice I could give my younger self is have patience, humble yourself, be more empathetic.
Yeah.
Patience, humility, empathy.
Empathy
is huge because, and again, now it's totally different than when I was a kid because now it's like social media. This is the most toxic thing on the planet is this thing, right?
100%.
And so we're always comparing ourselves to other people. I talk to Brandy about it. She helps me get through it. I look at people that are my age that are infinitely more successful in my mind because they have more money or more prestige or whatever. I'm like, man, what have I been doing my whole life? That guy's 50, 52, younger than me and doing so much better than me. I falsely compare myself to other people sometimes.
Yeah.
I've gotten much better at it because I have a partner, I have a wife that helps me overcome those thoughts because she gives me a much better view of where I'm at in my life, that I'm infinitely wealthier and better than that person I'm comparing myself to.
Yes. Yes.
And she does that all the time for me. And it's wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I think your advice for yourself, the advice that I would give to my younger self is stop trying to fill the hole in your heart with snacks. Fill it with something substantive, right? It may be harder to cook. It may be harder to digest, but it'll fill it a lot faster with a lot less pain on the other end, right? Every man has spent his 20s, especially me in my 20s living in Vegas, trying to fill that hole in your heart with women, gambling, drinking, all these snacks, all these things that are like quickly digestible and feel good in the moment, but just leave you feeling empty later, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Get to the meal. Get to the meal. Don't waste so many time with snacks. And I would tell it to my younger self too with, you know, the weight stuff, but both ways.
But you're aware of it and you're working on it. You've caught in flack from people. It's funny, man. Black Instagram jumps on you.
It's a win. It's a win-lose. It's a win-lose. And I'm willing to, what do we just say? You can't gain something without losing something, right? If I'm going to gain respect of people over here, I'm going to lose friends or admiration over here. And Black TikTok can be very critical, as you know, and as I know, because everything is an extreme. Either they love you or they hate you.
Black TikTok is fucking vicious.
It is vicious.
Vicious.
It is vicious.
Black Instagram can also be mean, but not vicious.
No, it's mean. It's mean because, and this is the truth, a lot of Black people are just, they're tired. They're just tired. And trust me, I understand it. I come from that. They're tired. They're tired. They know the flaws. They see the flaws. They're tired of having to talk about it. They're tired of having to hear about it. They're just tired, right? And I get it. But in my DMs are older black people, especially black men, who are like, keep talking. What you guys are doing is good. These conversations need to be had, right?
It's wonderful.
And it is wonderful. And you got to just ride the good with the bad. And more lessons for more days. But
the best compliment, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the best compliment I get from Black Instagram is they'll say, you know, great job, King, with the salute emoji.
It's the best.
To have a black man call me King is like the most vilifying, wonderful compliment ever, that it's we're doing something here that crosses racial divides.
Yep. 2 best moments on social media. This will be our patriarchal pontifications of the day. Every so often, me and Jeff just want to share things that we notice, okay? Jeff noticed that when black guys call you King, it feels great.
It's wonderful.
My version of that is when a Polynesian person goes, "Oh, Oos, I love the show, man. Keep up the good work." I'm like, yeah, boy, I love that. Hey, to the Polynesians who watch us, that Oos shit hits like crack. Please never stop that. Please never stop that. What I want you guys to do if you're watching, tell us what you've noticed, right? We will definitely share the best ones here on the channel, especially if they're funny, or especially if they don't cross the line, but learn how to walk the tightrope. I think Jeff does a very good job of that. Learn how to walk the tightrope, right? We would love to hear you guys' patriarchal pontifications on fewer episodes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Future, not fewer, future. Jesus, what's wrong with me today?
You're fine. You're fine. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I had a feeling that you would knock this one out of the park. So thank you for doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us today.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Well, we do it. It's just the dynamic we have is hilarious because just we come from totally different backgrounds. We're two totally different guys.
Yeah.
But we're best friends, and I enjoy spending time with you. You know, we're going to be announcing a second sponsor very soon.
Yes, sir.
You know, I don't want to say it yet because this is going to drop Wednesday, but it's a second sponsor that we have, and we're 4 months into doing this. That we're already like this. This is growing in ways I never thought it was going to grow this fast. It's fantastic. Like we have 2 clips over 1 million views,
Which is nuts.
which is bananas.
Brand new podcast.
Brand new 4 months in. 4 months in. So if we can do it, you know, it's just don't stop.
Yeah.
Just keep going, y'all. If you got podcasts going, don't fucking stop.
Don't quit, man. Jeff, you are my best friend. Isn't that weird? How this become? I look forward to this every week.
Dear friends. I adore you and your family.
Yeah. I knew we were friends, really, really good friends, growing closer when I would find topics that I'm like, oh, Jeff's going to look so fucking cool when he nails this. Like, you guys understand, when I'm researching topics, they're not for me.
Oh my God.
I'm researching topics, I'm like, oh, Jeff's going to fucking slay this one. By the way, slay means you're going to kill it. That's new. My daughter taught me that one, slay. To slay.
Yeah, I know slay.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing anymore. Like slay it.
Just slaps.
Slay the house down. I'm learning some shit. We're bringing it. Dad Pod's learning from Gen Z or Gen Alpha.
Yeah. We're trying, man. It's a battle.
I heard Brandy laugh at us.
Fucking dying.
Brandy's laughter is going to be the soundtrack of knowing we're doing a good job.
Dude, she's my barometer for everything. She's my fucking barometer. I have to. All right, brother. Good stuff. Thank you.
Jeff, thank you, brother.